what's up you guys, it's Lexi DIY and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be transforming this fireplace, and I have to be honest with you, I don't really know how it's going to go. I have looked up a few different tips and tricks on this, but for the most part I'm winging it because that's how I like to do all of my projects. Now, I really hope that it ends up good because this is not something that you can go back on. We're going to be German schmearing the fireplace, which is basically just putting mortar over top of the brick and then kind of wiping away some so that you still see the brick. It still looks natural, but it's more my aesthetic because personally this brick is not my favorite. I have already tried to clean it up. You may have seen in a previous video, and it's not for me. Now also, since the mortar is white, you guys probably will be like, Lexi, it's gonna blend into your wall. Yeah, for sure. This wall behind me is actually going to be painted either a black or a really deep forest green. Let me know which one you would pick in the comments. But that's not going to be till a later date because right now it's wood paneling and it's going to be switched out for drywall. We're just waiting for walls to come down, etc. Y'all know the drill. You know we have a million things going on. So, I'm gonna stop talking now. Let's just get into it. These are the supplies I'm using. I used a little spatula. I did use a metal one. I would recommend that you use a plastic one because my metal one kind of scraped some of my brick and so don't do that. Use a plastic one. And then I'm using this thin set mortar that was already pre-mixed. You could definitely mix it your own, but I just didn't want to do that. And then I'm using some rubber gloves, a bucket full of just some warm water, and some sponges. And basically you just start by spreading the mortar on a few bricks at a time. Now I kind of played around with wetting the brick before and not wetting the brick because I saw some videos that said that you should wet the brick so it sticks better and you have more time to spread it around. If you're doing a few bricks at a time, I actually found that it doesn't really matter. If you're doing a large area, yeah, you might want to wet the brick. I kind of did it both ways and I did not really see much of a difference or a preference. But then I'm just going back and wiping with the direction of the brick. You sometimes will see the wipe marks, so you want to make sure that it's not down, it's across with the brick itself. And I'm filling in the little gaps between bricks first. Mine on my fireplace were very prominent and kind of looked bad, honestly. So I focused on putting a lot there. I would recommend that you put down some plastic for this project because it gets a lot messier, a lot quicker than you think. I really thought since I was going to only be doing a few at a time, I would have a lot more control and it wouldn't get so messy, but it's a very messy project. So again, I'm just doing the same thing here. I've also seen people where they use a mortar piping bag and they pipe in between the bricks and then they just spread it. I tried that with just a plastic bag and it was not going well for me, so I found this was a lot faster. Now this project is going to take a lot more time than you anticipate, so make sure you set probably at least 5 to 6 hours of time aside to do this. Now this project did only cost me $25 because I only ended up using one bucket of the pre-mixed mortar and my sponges, and I already had a bucket with some water. So I would highly recommend this, or maybe even a lime wash if you're looking to update your fireplace instead of going with painting, although I do like the look of painted fireplaces as well. But yeah, so here's what I'm doing. I'm also going back and rubbing little parts of it off with my finger, and that's just so I can kind of control where is getting more mortar, where isn't. And another trick is once you're done, if you want to go back and you maybe put too much somewhere, you can actually, once it dries, go over it with a wire brush and just kind of wipe that off. I didn't end up doing that because I wanted this more opaque look, but if that's your style and you want to see more of the brick, you can definitely do that. I would also suggest getting full rubber gloves. Mine were just some gardening gloves, so they weren't fully waterproof and my hands were getting freezing and pruny. So definitely use some really nice rubber gloves because you are going to be putting your hands in water and out of water many different times. I ended up actually having to put on some other gloves because my first ones that I was using were just so soaked and my hands were really cold and just yucky. Also, make sure that you're getting on the side. I would recommend taping up the wall next to it. I didn't do this and I got stuff all over my wall, which isn't too big of a deal because like I said earlier in the video, we are going to be replacing it with drywall. It's just wood paneling that we have painted right now. So yeah, make sure that you do that. I really, like I said earlier, thought I was gonna have so much more control over this because I was only doing a little bit at a time, but it gets everywhere, it flings everywhere, it gets messy, so just as a heads up. Now, once I got to the bottom piece, I'm making sure I'm blending it really well, and then the reason that I put this plastic over the bottom is because chunks of this like literally fly everywhere, so you wanna make sure that it's not getting stuck to the bottom piece of your fireplace and then you're just gonna have like a lumpy fireplace. This part was much harder than the top portion, and I don't know if it was just the angle I was doing it at or because the bricks go in different directions, but this was giving me a lot more trouble. I felt like it was a little bit more difficult to go with the brick and get, you know, when I was wiping it off, a consistent look. So if anybody has any tips for that, for somebody who may be looking to do this project in the future, please drop them in the comments because it's something that I did struggle with, and if you're gonna do this, I don't want you to struggle with it. So yeah, this was definitely the hardest part and it kind of broke my back, but it was totally worth it. Also, don't be like me. Don't leave the mortar open in between. Just put the lid back on. It will dry out, so make sure you do that. Also, look at my clothes. They are a hot mess. Make sure that you're wearing stuff that you don't mind getting dirty. I'm gonna say it for the millionth time. It is so messy. Now, this part on the front and sides was so much easier. I don't know if it was just the angle that I was having to wipe it off at or what. Also, sorry you heard Penelope shaking her head in the back. But yeah, this part was pretty easy. I know I'm gonna have to go fix some pieces near the edge when we pull the carpet up that aren't covered, but I'm not too concerned about that. Once it dried for 24 hours, I went back and put some additional mortar on parts where I wanted it to be a little bit more white. Now, if you want less, then you can go back, like I said earlier, and just use a wire brush to kind of take some of the excess off. But here is the transformation. All the way to the end of this video. Thank you so much. I am so happy with how the fireplace turned out. It looks so much better and I can't wait to paint the wall behind it. So definitely drop a comment, let me know if I should go black or like a forest green. I'm so torn about it. But I also just launched my channel membership here on YouTube. So if you guys are interested in some exclusive behind the scenes content as well as fun badges you can earn and fun little emojis, make sure to check that out and hit the join button down below. It does sometimes have a glitch with iPhone, so I've also left the link in the description just in case it doesn't pop up for you. And I also have my Amazon shop link down below, which will have everything that I use to renovate the house. I do make a small commission if you purchase from it, so no obligations, but in case you're wondering, like a list of things that I use, normally it's gonna be linked on there. And make sure if you like this video to give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell notification so that you never miss when I upload next. Also, follow me on all my other social medias. They'll be linked here on the screen and in the description. And until next time,